We are live. We are live. Welcome, everybody. Let's get rid of this material. And it's Tuesday night. It's cheese night. Welcome, everybody. It's lovely to see you all there. I can't see you, but you can see me. That's all that matters. Tonight, we have some fantastic cheese from Sharphams Cheese, one of the most beautiful cheese making, I was about to say vineyards, but I'm crossing my waters there because they have wine as well. Okay, we've got Greg with us tonight. Are you there, Greg? Knock, knock on the door. Are you there?
Come on in. Come on in.
Welcome. I don't know where I'm welcoming you to. Internet nowhere. You must be awesome down on there, down in Devon. How's the weather been?
Strange. Every 5 minutes it changes. So we've had beautiful sunshine today. We've had lashing rain. So we've had a bit of everything today, and a thunderstorm last night. So mental.
Wow. Yeah, no, we've had, well, that speaks it all, you know, with Trump and everything else and COVID, and that's sort of got a metaphorical weather storm for the whole what's going on the planet. You probably had quite a big year. You're the owner or part owner of Sharphams and have been since 2019.
19, yep.
Wow. So you took over a fantastic cheese estate and took it into the teeth of COVID.
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, what a time. Waited all our lives to buy in a business, me and Nikki, and we chose 2019. But I think we wouldn't change a thing, to be honest, Charlie. I mean, it's been an interesting year, a challenging year.
So tell us about yourself.
Me, I'm a foodie. I passed a big milestone birthday last Christmas, which starts with a 5.
Oh
yeah, thank you. Yeah. So that was interesting, and I'd like to. I think I'm officially qualified to call myself a foodie veteran now. Always worked in the industry. Good job. You can't see below the table here because that shows in my belly. But love it. Love food. Love cheese. And I'm very privileged. I'm from Devon, born and bred. I've managed to sort of hold up a career sort of all over the country. I worked my way back to the county that I've born in and love very much. So very fortunate.
So, but I mean, you've done some big cheese places. I've got you down for Dairy Crest. I've got you down for Ashley Chase. I've got you down for Cricketer. You've done big, pretty small. You even did Unilever, I think, to kick off. In your real youth.
In my real youth, yeah. Thank you. I mean, that's not much cheese kicking around at Unilever, but great experiences. Worked with some brilliant people. Loved my time at Dairy Crest. I spent sort of 5 years working with Marks and Spencer for DC, and that actually opened up and introduced me to many artisan cheesemakers because we were trying to at that point make M&S look at more artisan cheeses. Great time, great people, and then had the opportunity. Mike gave me the opportunity to join Ashley Chase and SME down in Dorset. A beautiful setup, making great products with an excellent export business, and that coaxed me away from the blue chip world really. And had a great time with Mike for 4 years plus. Then the Barber family got involved in Ashley Chase, and Angus offered me the opportunity to go and take the helm at Cricketer, which was quite a big stride for me as the sort of the MD down there. But the Cricketer team established over many years, many generations, a real local cheesemaker. Everybody from Netherstory worked at Cricketer at some point, I'm sure. Great traditions. Yeah. And then, and we had a genuinely great time, but, ultimately on a very sort of significant piece of real estate, not making quite enough cheese to sort of be able to survive all the turmoil that comes with the dairy market. The decision was made to stop making. That was quite a sad time, but actually in some sides.
It happens. Cheese is one of those, it's just like so many other industries. It's a sort of, what do they call it, a dumbbell model, where you've got a large number of small producers at one end and a small number of large producers at the other end, and not many people in the middle. And that's sort of what Cricketer was, wasn't it?
That was us.
Yeah. Had to get one way or the other, or leave the table, kind of thing.
Yeah, and very nailed to the retail market, which is fickle, as we know.
Don't we know it? So tell me, how did you get involved in Sharphams? Because let's give it a bit of background. And I've got a beautiful picture here. Let's see if we can make this, people see this. Come on, in we come. Now look at that, people. Now
that's
I think nice, when we looked at this, Greg, that white dot in the middle to the right of the big house, that's your office.
Yeah, it is. That's where I look out of there. I'd like to have had the big house, but unfortunately, two things stop me from doing that. Yeah, but yeah, what a beautiful place, you know. And incidentally, you know, you can follow this river right the way back by foot or on your bike back to Totnes. And I came to Sharpham. Me and Nikki came to Sharpham many years ago with the dog. Walked along, walked around the side, saw the cheese dairy, and thought, wouldn't it be lovely to be involved in this one day? And you know, careful what you wish for. And you know, now we are. It is a beautiful part of the world. I got into the food wilderness away from cheese for a couple of years, doing some projects, set up a consultancy company, enjoyed that. I still do some projects in that. But I was introduced to Mark Sharman and Debbie Mumford down at Sharpham, who said to me that, you know, they wanted to do a bit less and wanted to place the business into safe hands. Worked with them for a little while before taking the plunge. And in, as you say, in 2019, July the 16th, to be precise, we handled some money from Lloyd's across to them and became owners, apparently, of Sharpham Cheese.
Actually, yeah, you talked about this earlier. You got some nice things to say about a bank. That's quite unusual.
Do you know what? Actually, Lloyd's were absolutely superb throughout the process and the first business I bought. I've started many, but first business I bought, and they were fantastic. So
let's be clear. You don't do the wine except in a personal capacity. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So you're in charge of, and it's a Jersey herd down there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the cows haven't grazed at Sharpham for a little while. They grazed down the road at Dartington, and actually just recently we've relocated them just around the coast the other way into East Prawle in South Devon. The dairy unit at Dartington was sort of falling into a state of disrepair, so they moved off a few years ago. But yeah, with Jersey cows, I was down with them. In fact, I took Nikki and my daughter Annie down to see them in their new location last Tuesday. So this time last week. So this time last week, I stank of being on the farm, milking the cows, not very competently, but milking the cows with Johnny.
We have to yeah, we can't call it tough cheese unless we pulled a teat or two.
Exactly, yeah. So that was great fun. But yeah, lovely herd of jerseys. And then we as we'll come on to, you know, we make the goat's milk and sheep's milk. Devon goat's milk produces 3 of those. And then the sheep's milk we go and collect from Tom Garland up in Somerset.
So let's get to the nub of it. You make how many cheeses and introduce us to them, and let's eat some. Okay,
so we make 8 cheeses. One's got a couple of variants, and that's not including different shapes. So yeah, that's what we make.
Okay, it's quite a selection, but you stay away from the blues. You don't do those. You leave that to
not deliberately. Not deliberately, yeah.
So because there is a close association with you and Devon Blue and Harborne Blue and Beanley Blue.
Beanley Blue, that's right.
You're a white mold specialist, one could reasonably argue.
Yeah, and the Ticklemore, this one that we're going to taste, was originally made by Robin in his dairy, and Debbie.
Well, this is what gets confusing, and I'm an easily confusing. He's called Ticklemore Dairy, and
he is
Ticklemore Cheese.
We do. Let me give you some clarity, hopefully, if I explain it right. So originally Ticklemore, and Ticklemore Dairy, by the way, is named after Ticklemore Street, which is in Totnes.
Okay.
Which is where Robin opened
on Twitter a bit, didn't we? It's like, what does Ticklemore?
Yeah. And Ticklemore Cheese Shop is still there in Ticklemore Street, which is where it came from. And still run. It's run by the Country Cheeses guys, Gary and Elise. I'm sure you know. Do a brilliant job there. So Sycamore was made by Robin amongst his blue cheeses, and at a point in time, because Debbie Mumford also worked with Robin up at his cheese making dairy. Debbie came down to Sharpham, and at a point in time, Robin, Mark, and Debbie agreed that it'd be better and safer for a lovely white cheese like this to be made some distance from a blue cheese. And so Ticklemore came down to Sharpham to be made initially for them. And then there came a point where Mark and Robin agreed it makes sense just for it to become part of the Sharpham family. So that's what happened. Yeah, I mean, it's our...
Would you describe it as your flagship cheese?
Well, I think as the breeze listening, that would be a bit harsh. But I think, you know, it's our second biggest selling cheese behind the brie. It's not happy. Second biggest selling cheese. It's extremely popular, you know, and I think you know, probably outside of Devon is our biggest seller.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's very popular in some of the London markets. You know, it's been up there for numerous years, and you know, people like Neil's Yard have recently really got behind it, which is fantastic. It was featured in as part of their cheese boards. The cheese bar, you know, we know the cheese bar and love the cheese bar. They've done brilliant things with it there, you know, and I know they're going to be sort of suspended for a few weeks, but they'll get back to it as well.
They will. They can't hold them down. No, they're irrepressible.
They're brilliant. I think they're driving the sort of future road for cheese to get people interested.
I do agree. I do agree. There's more innovation going on there that almost, well, certainly some of their food management. But back to cheese.
Yes. So they serve the Ticklemore.
Let's start there.
Yep. That Ticklemore.
Now this is, I'm going to guess, I don't know, 600 grams, maybe when whole, 500 grams.
Oh, so these ones range between, they're about 500 grams, sometimes a bit heavier, but not far out.
So, but it's the ones people are more familiar with are what I think of the UFOs, the little spaceships.
I was just about to say UFOs, exactly that. So they're generally about 1.7 kilos, yeah?
Yeah. Now, it's my experience of this cheese that it changes quite a lot. And, I mean, I've judged Taste of the West, and the thing about judging a regional cheese competition is you know what all the cheeses are just by looking at them. You know, there's no, I wonder who made this. That doesn't happen. But your cheese goes from very light and slightly open, and I don't want to say fresh, but kind of
fresh is good.
Fluffy.
Yeah.
And then as it gets older, the cheese becomes more homogeneous. The curd becomes more consistent, but the flavors, in my opinion, become more savory and dense. And I like it definitely at that front end.
The front end, yeah. No, I that's perfect description. You should do this for a living, Charlie. It's that. So yeah, that's a perfect description of Ticklemore. And what happens with these little ones is you know, generally the flavour moves on a little bit quicker, as you would expect. You know, there's less of an area for it to run through. Yeah, that's perfect. You know, and it's, I think, at its freshest. So this would be about 5 weeks. This is quite young, really, for Ticklemore. This is, you know, beautiful to eat as we are now, especially with a nice crisp wine as Dark Valley Reserve is, and then also nice crumbled in salads. If you want, looking for other ways to use it, really nice.
And it's slightly begging for a fruit like a fig or maybe even an apricot or something like that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. And there's some recipes kicking around. People like to mix it with peas. There's in salads with garden peas seem to bring out the flavour. There's more than a couple of recipes out there. So and it's, you know, as it gets older, it does get a bit more herbaceous. I think it works well with herbs. Melts really nicely. You know,
and it obviously rides the whole non-cows thing, because a lot of people are trying to. It's not something I would go for, but a lot of people would choose sheep's and goat's milk before cow's milk, and this is one of the nicest example of fresh but robust, easy to sell, works well on the cheese counter. You know, it's not going to go weird on you all of a sudden. You know, that's what with some fresh cheeses can do that.
No, thanks. I think that's it. You know, it's one of those that you say, "Oh, we don't eat goat cheese. Just try this one." You know, there are notes in here that you will like. It's not going to be like it's come off the market.
You must do a fair amount of markets and all that kind of stuff, and you have someone comes up, says, "I really can't do goat cheese." I mean, every now and again, they really, really can't. There are some people who really, really can't, and I forgive them. Yeah. But most people, it's like they just never had a good one. You know? Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think, you know, we've all been to the markets in France, you know, and you can smell the goat cheese maker before you've got to his stand, and you're thinking, I'm going to have some of that with some quite robust wine a bit later on. Yeah, and that's what I think people have been. Let's say tainted by, you know, the Billy's been in there, and you know, you've got that real acrid sort of taste, which is all right.
That is the question, Greg. Why does some goat's milk cheeses really go big goat? What's your theory?
My theory is that I know that, you know, collecting goat's milk is not as easy as collecting cow's milk, and sometimes you'll get a situation where it stays on the farm a bit longer. You'll get a situation where the Billy's probably far too in and amongst. You know, you can use it. You can, if you pull up to a farm where the Billies are, you can smell them before you see them. So if they're in and amongst the nannies, you know, that's going to influence it. But I think that historically, I think it's going to be that, you know, your French, let's not, the French farmer has collected his milk over the week. That's got gradually more tasty over the week, made his cheese with it. And he's probably keeping his cheese in a fairly sort of goatee area. So it's going to be a combination of the environment and I think age of milk and quality of milk.
Yeah, we've got Alison says her view is exactly what she said, because the billies are in with the girlies. You said that sounds pretty robust.
But you can't blame them. You can't blame them, can you, Charlie?
No, and Rebecca says love Sharphams cheese, loving that. So no, I do get that, but there is a school of thought that actually goat's milk is quite fragile, and the flavors can come about from over manipulation if it's shaken or pushed or and I have heard that, and I'm slightly leaning in that direction. But I think it's one of the mysteries. It's one of the mysteries because goat's milk just kicks off sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I taste every morning. So I'm at Sharpham 4 days of the week, and I'm there cheese making time. And one of the pleasures I have is tasting the milk, because I taste every drop of milk that comes in. Sometimes you'll taste the goat's milk and you think, yeah, you know, there's a little bit more going on there. Sometimes you're tasting, you can't tell the difference between that and the cow's milk.
No. I've had milk straight from the teat and all that kind of stuff. There's no goat there at all. It's amazingly fresh and aromatic. I'm a bit of a shy boy. I'm a farmer's son, but it's nonetheless the idea of taking, you know, putting a cup under and doing a bit of that and I do double take. It's like the first, you know, when you think about, do I want it? But actually, flavor of goat's milk straight from the goat there's nothing alien or nasty or concerning. Yeah. You're almost like shocked by how fresh it is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right, we've done that one. What have you got for us next?
Shall we have a little taste? Let's go from goat to sheep, shall we? Washbourne.
Okay, now that's down here. Now, so
if you can,
start
white. So this is about 6.5 weeks old. The great thing, so the Washbourne is a washed curd cheese. So you get that bit more pliable texture to it, and that develops quite quickly as well.
I'm sure that all our very educated listeners know exactly what a washed curd cheese is, but you literally wash the curd, don't you? You put in a little bit of fresh water, take out some whey, put some fresh water.
Correct.
Away some lactose.
Yeah.
Away some lactose, and you tend to get a sweeter outcome because of it.
Sweeter and texture-wise, what it does, because we put it in at sort of 80 degrees plus, then it's actually sort of it's helping to break down the texture a bit quicker, and you get a smoother texture generally with the washed curd. So we do 2 cheeses that we wash the curds on, and Washbourne's one of them. So again, sheep's cheese seems to be growing in popularity. Delicate, young, creamy.
The risk of using sort of slightly unusual words, it's got a hint of Karamak about it. Do you know what I mean by Karamak?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You know, that's that clean but cooked milk thing with slight notes of toffee towards the end.
I'll take that. I think, you know, we were just talking about goat's milk and the fact that, I mean, some people have an aversion to drinking milk from sheep because they think it's going to taste lammy, you know, and if that happens, that's not very nice, is it? But this is so clean and creamy. Yeah, and what I love about Washbourne is it just, as it ages, it almost becomes a different cheese, you know, and it becomes nuttier, more flavoursome, you know, and I actually want to age it more.
I think you should go for it.
Yeah, but I think that the trouble is, you know, sheep's milk availability in our part of the world is not fantastic.
Well, it's pretty scarce across the country. It's not an easy milk to get.
Yeah, and therefore we tend to make it and it sells. And you know, in the last year, this cheese won Supreme Champion at Froome, which at the Global Cheese Awards, which totally we were astonished by. Honestly, didn't expect it. So a lovely surprise. But, you know, that then sort of put it on the map a bit. And it's now been really tricky to sort of keep up with demand on it, really. But, yeah, we want to age it. I mean, as I say, you know Gary down at Country Cheeses, I'm sure, you know, and he's a legend in our parts and he does brilliant things with cheese. A lovely customer to have. But I went out for a meal last Christmas time and Gary had, and they served the cheese board up and our cheese I vaguely recognised on it, but was delicious. And Gary had taken our washboard off, put it in his cave, nurtured it, massaged it, and done whatever he does. It turned into a fantastic cheese, very different from this. So yeah, one of my favourites is the washboard.
Well, I've got an idea for you on this one, but I'm going to come back to that at the end.
Thank you. Good.
There's another cheese that you haven't got here that I want to talk about. What have we got next? Let's do the rustic.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll come back to my fave.
Yeah. Let's do it. So, rustic, lovely cheese made for 30 years, and there's a chive and garlic version which is very popular. Beautiful in its own, but it works as a really nice canvas to add other things to. And lovely company down the road from us. Met the guy whilst drinking wine. Surprise, surprise, at a local museum. Very strange evening, but anyway, we met and we spoke about the idea of adding his seaweed to a cheese, because he added it to butter and that worked well. We added it to gin, that worked well. So one thing led to another. We developed the cheese before lockdown. But we were more focused on other things, surprisingly enough. So we brought it back to life in September. And this has got September this year. Yeah, this year. Yeah. It did pretty well. We did send some of the stuff we made off for the Virtual Cheese Awards. We got silver, and we got a silver at the Taste of the West Award. So this particular one, we decided on the best variation was with sea lettuce, which is the green stuff. And then we've got this beautiful, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but this dulse, which is a beautiful sort of gem sort of red colour. I don't know if you can get it, but it looks dark on there. But it really sort of glimmers like little gems in the cheese. And what we found is, this, because of the delicate base flavour, it really, you get that umami-ness of the little bit of saltiness. We don't add as much. We have very little salt to it. But you get the sort of umami flavour from the seaweed, and then I think you get that little bit of cheeky bit of sort of sea about it. Looks beautiful. The local papers love it. We had a double-page feature in the Western Morning News at the weekend with Tony, the seaweed harvester, on it, and talking about how we've made it, which is brilliant. And and we've launched it exclusively with Hawkridge. Just for a little while, because they're a fantastic customer of ours in the West Country, do a great job with cheeses, and they've taken it on board, and I think they're loving it as well. It was originally designed for the summer, but then we didn't. It was a strange summer, wasn't it? So so here we are, so this is great. And I've just taken some of this today. We've got a lovely restaurant down the road where we live called the Salutation. Tom, the chef, wants to add this to some of his freshly caught seafood. And I think that's going to work out really well. So it'll be a recipe up online at some point soon.
Got a hint of crispy fish skin. It's got a kind of sweet. I know. You know what I mean?
Maybe we should target the vegetarian market with, you can taste fish without turning back to.
Well, you do get cheeses that have a fish note to them, and you often don't recognise it until you say that's fish, and go, oh my god, that's exactly what it's got, a fish note to it. Getting all sorts of, not like this. This is a very specific type. I'm fascinated. Not that one. That one. Sorry. That's amazing. So let me get a bit of clarity on this, because the Sharphams rustic historically has been a chive cheese, right?
No, so Sharpham rustic is a plain cheese. We made with Channel Island milk, very golden, and then there is a separate variant that is a Sharpham chive and garlic,
right?
Which there's a legend in these parts. That's when the cows ate some wild garlic, but right. It wasn't filmed. Yeah. It wasn't filmed, so
Well, no, I was talking to I can't remember, one of the Keane brothers who had it happen to his cows.
Right. And yeah.
He did, and I mean, let's face it. That garlic at March time, when they get in there, it's huge. Yeah. But it's probably a good time to bring in your brand new branding, which is not brand new. It's sort of
this year.
I think I love it, actually. I think it's great. It's really, really nice.
It took a while. It took some heartache and a bit of think of it. What we were trying to do is capture Devon, really. So we've captured, hopefully, the land, the water, and the sunshine, which is pretty much what I get if I look out the window.
Well, you do have a special view. We covered that. Okay, I'm just going to take that as capturing Devon. I'm just going to say it looks nice. Okay, go with that.
Thank you.
It does come on Sharphams Brie to this chap.
There we are. Should we just take a? I'm honoured that you're a fan.
I am a fan. It's not my favourite from your selection, but I am a huge fan. This was my go-to for my cheese shop of a British Brie. And of course, the word Brie is complicated, if that makes sense, because imitations of French Bries from Britain tend not to be great. You need to interpret them with your terroir and your milk, because you have Jersey cows, right?
We do.
And in my opinion, the West Country, particularly all the way down with you in Devon, produces quite buttery milk, even if you've got also Friesians on your ground.
Yeah. That's right.
Jersey on your ground, you get like double butter. You're getting really.
They've actually milk in butter.
Yeah, and this is the nearest. This is butter. I don't know, posh butter. It's like butter on steroids. It's fantastic. It's good. No, it's not butter in the sense of it like you're eating butter, but it's got butter, really proper buttery notes, plus the complexity you're getting from the breakdown of the mold and the mushroom and the little bit of in context bitterness that gives you that kind of like, oh, it's nice and complex kind of thing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Chicory nuts. No, well, thanks. I mean, we're very proud of it. I mean, and I would love to claim any responsibility, but this is one of the first cheeses made down there. Maurice Ash, who bought the Sharpham estate way back in the 70s, he had a Jersey herd that he shipped from Essex down to Devon, and he wanted to make his favourite cheese a Brie, and people said to him, "You'll never make a Brie out of Channel Island milk, forget it." But he was determined to have it done. He sent his cheesemaker across to France to learn a bit about it, and came back, and by the process that she'd seen and by having really good quality milk, managed to do it.
It's interesting. I mean, actually, quite a lot of people have managed Bries with Channel Island milks, Jerseys or Guernseys, and they have a very particular take. But one of the things that I sort of want to draw attention to is that it's very difficult to get your cheese to mature much more than this. You can, but then you run the risk of it being a completely uncontrollable number. It then rolls all over the place. I mean, this one already is beginning to show its fragility around the edge, if you can see. So you're getting quite a lot of squidge there and still first. So I think that this cheese is, if you don't mind me saying, you accept that, you take that.
Perfect
profile, and that's the way it should be. Yeah,
I think I would even take this another week. So this is 6 weeks. This cheese. I would take it another week because that's a personal preference. But I think one of the interesting things is that people like Brie at different stages of its life, and I don't think we sell that enough.
No, I agree.
I think it's something we should probably do more to say to people. You have yours now and keep the rest for later.
Yeah, exercise of choice. Right. Now I want to talk about a cheese that you don't always make, which is the cremette. Now, I have to say, in my research of you,
my favourite.
It's my favourite too. I am a huge fan of mixed milk cheeses. I think that it's a completely ignored in the British cheesemaking community. Completely ignored opportunity. You've got fantastic opportunities by mixing it up. Plus, as you've alluded to, pure sheep's milk, pure goat's milk, expensive, difficult to handle sometimes. I think the opportunity to take a cow's milk and blend it and bring out a little bit, which is, cremette is goat and sheep, I believe. Is that right?
No, cremette is goat's milk with cow's cream, double cream. So we had double cream.
Okay, no wonder.
Double cream. Yeah.
Okay. You are really playing with fire with that one.
I'm sorry I didn't send you any. I feel guilty now.
Well, I looked on your website. Are you making it at the moment?
Yeah, we make it. We're making it regular. I mean, it's becoming more and more popular. But it's a bugger to make. Sorry, I swore. Sorry, apologies for that. But it is.
It's a bloody challenge.
I mean, I'm not allowed to make it because I'm not gentle enough. So there are certain people that can and certain people that can't. But it is a beautiful, and it's my favorite. Yeah. I mean, so the Brie can't hear it, but it is my favorite.
So when you're not gentle enough, explain why do you need to be gentle? What's the
Well, when you're cutting the curds on a soft cheese, you're cutting them less, once, maybe twice, and they're big curds, and on the cremette, because you've added the double cream, they are extremely fragile, and so therefore, to nurture them and turn them in particular at their very young, when they're in the very first make stage is an art form. It's so therefore, not I'm sent to do washing. I'll be sent to do the washing up.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Greg, but you can move on now, kind of thing.
Yes, exactly that.
Well, this brings us to what I think the washboard, right? I think you should blend this with cow's milk and then mature it on. Because there's a whole bunch of cheeses that I'm dying people to try and replicate, which you sort of down towards southern Gascony, northern Pyrenees, where they're mixing from sort of 3 to 4 kilo flattered cheeses, that kind of thing, maybe sort of 5 kilos, and they're blending cow's milk with goat's milk, or goat's milk with sheep's milk, or sometimes cow's, goat's, sheep's milk, and it has the advantage of bringing out reducing the cost from you guys bluntly because of cow's milk, but also gives you a little bit of structure with the cow's milk, and then you bring in this flavor. But then they often watch the rind, but they allows them to mature it on for 6, 7, 8 months and get some interesting interesting flavor there. And nobody in the UK is doing it. I really would prefer to see a British version of it. So if you're up for it, I'd love to try it.
Well, do you know what's really by coincidence? So Tom Garland, I don't know if you know Tom, who is a brilliant producer of sheep art, of sheep's milk, is actually going to be moving down to Devon, and I think that's widely known now. But if it's not, it is now.
It's cheese node.
And also he's been working with another family down here that wants to produce a bit of cheese milk that are not far from us at all. So we have a great opportunity to perhaps produce a Devon version of exactly what you just said.
I would love to see it tried. There's all sorts of flavors there that would set you apart from any other cheesemaker because no one else is doing this. And I think that it give you the cost profile to age it on, as he said.
I mean, sheep's milk you get a fantastic yield from. So it is expensive. You're absolutely right. But blimey, you get a great yield of cheese from it, But
you get I mean, but compared to the fact a sheep milks 3 liters an hour, and your cows are 30 plus, you need to be a really good yield to make up for that.
But no,
it's not that easy. It's
you got the technique though.
Yeah. Right. We've got a question here from Rebecca. Here we go. Up we go. How do you get the shape? Am I right in thinking it's a colander style mold? Now, I think this is when we were talking about the Sharphams, the tickle mold, pardon me. Is that how you do it?
It is. It is. To find those colanders is a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, it is a perfectly usable version of a colander, which is well spotted.
Because I think the Berkswell uses colanders as well, doesn't it?
I think with Bath, I think Bath software, Bath use them as well. So
yeah, Bath, nice cheese as well.
Yeah, very nice.
I've got James here as well. He said he took Kremik to Hicks Food Rocks, and it was the star of the show. It's an amazing cheese. It is amazing cheese. Right. Well, I have to say, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Greg. Thank you so much. I also have to say, all the people out there who are watching us on YouTube or Facebook or I don't know, whatever else, reflected on the moon. Please like us, subscribe to us. We have this target of trying to get 1,000, what are they called, subscribers. Do you do this, Greg? Do you do YouTube kind of stuff?
I don't. There is a very competent lady that does. I just chip up and go where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. That's it.
Yeah, me too. I'm people. Tracy pushes me around like they have one of those things that make curling balls move. So everyone, like, subscribe, do all that nice stuff. Be very nice to us. That's really wonderful. Otherwise, it's Tuesday night is cheese night. Good night, Greg.
Thank you very much. Can I just say big thumbs up to Academy of Cheese. Fantastic work. Keep it going. And thanks to you all.
It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. Rightio. What do I need to say and do now? I need to do that, and I need to say we've got lots of learning. So a few spaces on the Academy of Cheese Level 2 next week with me. We're doing it online. It's 6. Oh, I can hear Greg pouring himself a glass of wine. Can you hear that? Okay, I might have to mute him for a second. Stay there, Greg. I'll be with you in a second. Right. Where were we? Academy of Cheese next week. The first level 2 online, so you can do it with me. We're doing 6 sessions of 3 hours. It's going to be fantastic. And then we've got level 1 with me as well, starting the day after, something like that. So train with us, love us. But there are lots of other really good. Avril and Ireland is doing it. Patrick McGuigan is doing it. We've got lots of people training online. Just because it is COVID doesn't mean we shouldn't eat more cheese. On that awesome and authoritative note, I'm going to say goodnight. This was Tuesday night. It's cheese night. Where's my button? Here we go. I must look like an idiot at this point. Right, yeah, marvelous. Okay, end broadcast now.